allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Moving on to 1E. Motion to approve the agenda as presented.
So moved.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. We do not have any recognitions tonight. I involved in this Mullins or one.
We're good.
FBLA will be recognized at the October, one of the October ones. We're hoping for October 6th. She's still just trying to coordinate with our FBLA.
He has stuff still.
Oh, he's, I'm sorry. Yep.
Okay.
And? This would be public comment time. We didn't have anybody sign up, so we will move on to number 4, consent agenda. Motion to approve consent agenda as presented.
So moved.
Second. Any discussion, or does anyone want an item moved in to consider individually?
Can I just ask a question?
Yes,
Or is
of
it
course.
just slow down?
No,
What is
you
it
can.
long?
Oh, that's, so teachers' typical schedule is teaching 5 out of the 7 periods. Because we had a last minute staffing, someone took a position in another place, we weren't able to fill that. Other teachers took on part of that teaching load, and so now someone's teaching 6 out of 7 periods.
Okay.
So that's how we filled that, and we weren't able to hire any new staff. It spread it out amongst the other teachers.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else? All right. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. And student representation.
Hi guys, I know you already have seen me because I was at the last one for Bella, but this is like my first one as the actual student rep. So I'm Gianna and I'm super excited to be doing this. Like, I've always wanted to do this. A little bit about me is I'm a part of Women of Will, Ed Rising, Peers for Peers, Mu Alpha Theta. Think of what club, I'm probably in it. I'm also on the executive board for student council and I do lacrosse, tennis, and competitive water skiing. But now for what's going on in the districts. So at the elementary schools, they were having so much fun welcoming their new kindergartners. And Lakeview showed their support for the Packers through a Spirit Day to kick off the season. Mrs. Harris, the Mill Valley principal, visited every classroom to share the theme of the school year, which is integrity as a part of the MV family. Both Mill Valley and Bay Lane's PTO are planning their Color Run fundraiser. While it is a fundraiser, it is also an event that brings the school year together to have fun and make memories. And Mill Valley also completed a behavioral class competition to earn their class a ticket to the dance party with DJ Awadala, along with the entire school taking an amazing drone picture. At the middle school, they're having so much fun with their new 5th graders. On September 11th and 12th, the Student Services team at Lake Dunoon facilitated a suicide awareness and prevention presentation for students to equip students with information about the signs and risk factors of suicidal thoughts. Lake Dunoon also had their picture day on September 8th and 9th with all the students loving wearing their best outfits to schools, and both middle schools are also doing their iReady placement testing all week. At the high school, over 100 student mentors started the school year on a great note, hosting Warriors 101 on August 27th, welcoming all the new freshmen to the building and teaching them the ways of high school. The first week was also great with their club fair. This is an opportunity for people to ask questions about different clubs and sign up to get involved. The Warrior Welcome is also coming up later this week, so parents can meet their children's teachers and know more about their classes, along with talking to teachers that you might be interested in taking their class next year. Homecoming is also coming up next weekend, which is so exciting. So Student Council has started their school and city decorating, as well as planning the pep rally and dance. For clubs, Key Club is hosting the first ever ice cream social after school in the cafeteria on the 18th to promote the club. They're so excited to hopefully start a new tradition. As well as over the summer, Women of Will had their first annual retreat in August. Over 100 girls attended and they're focused on growing the club, which they're doing a great job at. For sports, girls tennis had a clean sweep against Oak Creek last week with all of their doubles and singles winning their matches, so congratulations to them. Speaking of big wins, our football team had a huge victory against Pewaukee, 48-7. And last week, which I forgot to add in here, I don't really remember the score, but it was definitely a large win. On the other hand, boys soccer had 3 very close games with 1-0 win against Franklin and 1-1 ties against both Hamilton and Kettle Moraine. Boys soccer also had its youth night on the 9th to honor the future generations of the sport.
Thank you, welcome.
Where was the William, oh,
The Women of Will retreat.
yes, where was it at?
We just hosted it in the Sal gym, but then we
Oh.
kind of walked all over the school and a little bit outside too.
So it was local.
Yeah.
Got it.
Any other questions?
Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank you.
much. All right, moving on to superintendent's report.
All right, well, it is awesome to be back in the swing of things and having our students back in the building and getting our student updates. It always fills our hearts with so much pride and joy when we get to hear what is happening across the school system. And your interest and desire to be a part of this group kind of exemplifies what we hope happens when students understand that your voice and your commitment to the work that you do is why we are here. Like, seeing students shine and find great opportunities in the situations that we have here really makes us all proud. So thank you and welcome. And thank you, students, also for being here as members of our student council. Again, our whole job is to make sure you're having the best experience you can have, so your active engagement in that is a really powerful thing. So we are going to start out with our first agenda item, which is an update on our elementary school month.
All right, so I have information around summer school, and again, it is exciting. So this year, we have opportunities for students, not just during the SLA weeks that SLA is running or summer school is running, but we have lots of other things and opportunities going on over the summer that support also the revenue that's coming into the district and generating the FTE. So just to list a couple things going on, including in-person virtual opportunities, the Power, Summer Band, College Essay Class, Connect Academy, All Sports Academy, Fab Lab, Swimming, Volleyball, Warriors 101, our 4K through 4th grade student summit, which is an opportunity for teachers and students to meet one-on-one. And then all the new enrichment classes that were run. So we again hit an all-time high with 2,748 students, which transferred over into 264 FTE. So there is a graph by year in the agenda. Last year we were at 227 FTE, so that was an increase for us again this year. So really exciting. Thank you to all of our associate principals, our summer school administrators, all the teachers and staff. Our instructional coaches are involved, so just a lot of hands go into the planning for that successful summer programming. So thanks to all of them, and another really exciting year.
Awesome.
200 is a lot. Like, where did it come from?
200, just I think a lot of those additional enrichment classes, some of the new spaces at the high school brought new opportunities too. So we were running like culinary classes that we wouldn't have been able to before. So some of our bigger increases on here, Connect Academy courses was pretty large. The MS Power, so 6th through 8th grade, that was a big draw. So I think just in another month, those conversations start already of what are student interests and how do we continue to expand it. So, yeah, just really thoughtful.
Tracy, we also, if I could add, when the WIAA took away content requirements,
yes.
Ryan was able to pull together teachers to take on those practices, which we then counted those practices.
And, okay, that makes sense. That was huge.
It was huge.
Just let me just ask a quick question. So freshman year, we have online health and online gym. Do we do anything else that would count for core type classes for students in later years? So I know we don't do like language and things like that, but do we do an English class? Do we do a math class? Or anything that would count for high school core? The reason I ask that is if you're in both band and choir and want to study hall because you need it, eventually you're going to run out of time, right? Because you need to take a foreign language right in there. So you either backload it and do it in junior, senior year, or you front load it. So I'm just curious if we're from a helping students keep that study hall yet? Or is there not enough time? I mean, I know it's compressed timelines, so.
So I can answer that, yeah.
Okay,
So-
sorry, I don't know yet.
Yeah, you can repeat the PE class multiple times, so they can get all their PE requirements out of the way. And the requirement of a foreign language is really one of the most common misperceptions of high school requirements. It's not a graduation requirement.
Right,
There
but
are
it's the college requirement, right?
3 colleges require it. It just so happens to be some of the more competitive ones, so it's looked at as a plus. So if you're not taking a world language, what are you taking in its place to balance that out? So it really depends, and it's personalized to each student. There's a small handful of courses that students can take, like there's an online economics class, but it's very few, and it really does come down to the number of contact minutes we have to cover all the content. And there's a perspective that one of the reasons our district is so high performing is we have very rigorous curriculum in place, and trying to get that curriculum covered over a summer school time slot isn't necessarily always apples to apples, so there's usually some reductions on some standards and some skills. So we've been pretty hesitant to try to cram all of that in.
Okay. It's good to know about the, I've heard that colleges are less intense right now on the foreign language piece for admittance, so, okay.
And the college admissions game has been really, it's been fluctuating a lot still yet from the pandemic, where they waived standardized test scores. They learned quickly that removing that piece of information was a semi-useful sorting tool from their standpoint of who may or may not be successful, as much as we can push up against that. An A in our school system might not be the same A as a different school system, so from a college lens, they are still grasping at things to try to sift and sort. And they're looking at 25,000 applications for 3,000 spots. So unfortunately, it really comes down to what are the things at each individual university that they've deemed are the best predictors of success in student goals in college. So, good questions.
Well, and students can always start in an associate degree school and then transfer to a four-year school and skip the whole foreign language thing.
And again, it's a small handful of schools that even require it as an admission. So it just is something that used to be very much looked at as a plus. And now there are so many AP and CAP courses and transcript and credit courses, or even research on a student who's in band required for 4 years, actually statistically tends to do really well. So there's a greater awareness of the factors that lead to success.
Okay.
Good question.
2 questions. Okay. How are we tracking trends for average hours attended for these classes? Because it can be anywhere between 1 and 4 for the ones that are at failing.
As far as attendance,
Well, like our utilization, whatever, like, are we, is it 2,700 students and a vast majority of them are just 1 hour, or are they multiple hours?
I don't have the breakdown.
Okay.
I could ask about it.
Okay.
The SLA piece is newer to me, so there's still a lot that I need to learn, but we will be meeting as a team in October. And so I can just ask about utilization of what those schedules are looking like.
Okay. And then the other one is, how many were in district versus out?
These are in-district numbers.
Okay. Did we end up pulling any from out of our district?
I would need to get that, I don't have that.
22.
Julie says 22.
Was
It's a
that?
team effort tonight.
Were they waitlisted, or were any of them still waitlisted?
It looks like we had a number of young residents entering, well, that participated in summer, not online, was 22, and then we had 2 that participated in online, 2 additional.
It says participated, so it doesn't indicate that they were waitlisted.
Okay.
I think it would be really hard to tell with like the mosquito power thing, because kids come one day, not the other day.
I'm thinking more in terms of like we dedicate resources at Bailing for that, whereas Muskego Power is more of a group setting, however many show up. This however many show up and the coach is still gonna do what they're gonna do, versus we have sections running essentially where we have them for 4 hours and we have transportation running back and forth for the shuttles. And if we're,
They show up, don't they? Don't we take attendance?
Yeah.
I would think that they would see
Yeah.
this.
So, but you can opt in for just 1 or 2 hours and 1 hour and be picked up or whatever, so just curious to see like, kind of, it's a data and numbers thing for me. just
Yeah,
to
so
see.
is your question, are they in for 3 sessions versus 1 session, or, so, oh, I thought, my take on your question was, are they participating, like, what is, like, are they showing up at classes?
Would be another good question, actually. Like, they register and then are they showing
Right,
up?
right,
So-
because it's summertime, and,
Right,
you know, some classes are shorter,
right,
so, whatever.
yeah,
Okay.
so, just curious,
Okay.
so,
I will gather that information.
cool.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
All right, our next agenda item is more of an FYI at this point. I've been in multiple meetings with superintendent groups, and the discussion around DPI's changes to the report card have come under a lot of concern and scrutiny. They've sent out multiple different communications to try to articulate the changes that they are integrating into this year's scorecard. They've identified that rather than using the 3 previous years' data, which they've done historically for quite a long time, they are only going to look at 2 years' worth of data. They are discontinuing last year's scale adjustment. Their articulation of that was it was used last year to reduce the scale shock and norming of the distribution of schools. And they are no longer going to be weighting achievement. It's going to be looking specifically at growth. These changes are creating a lot of stress and angst amongst the higher performing districts in our area. So they're not necessarily able to answer how it might impact us, but they did kind of frame out that their end goal was to get the distribution of schools in Wisconsin to look similar to what the distribution of schools in Wisconsin looked like before the pandemic. So ideally, in their ideal world, the distribution would be the same. So they did share that this year there are going to be fewer districts in the significantly exceeds category and likely fewer schools in the 1-star category. So not sure how that's all going to play out. There are a lot of questions being asked by folks, a lot of frustration, a lot of concern. So I'll keep you informed as we learn more on that. That's due out likely in November. We should get our first look at our data sometime in early October, and we'll keep you informed on that.
Sad part is, I don't think they themselves even know what it's gonna look like.
Our optimism is based on the data we have internally. So in speaking with our administrators, we had a very good conversation at our leadership meeting last week. And the internal measures we have to be able to track student growth and achievement have been very effective and valid, and it's likely a foundational reason why our district has climbed so significantly over the last 10 years. Those structures are still in place, so we're able to share our own version of what does our data look like internally. It's just hard to predict how that's going to be utilized on the state scorecard, so, yes.
Trying to figure out how to say this diplomatically.
Just say it.
Just say it.
Well, I mean, you would think that superintendents would have some pull on how they talk to the DPI, but it seems to me like the DPI, instead of using data to drive practices, they're trying to make the practice look the way they want it to look so that they look good. And just like, this is just ridiculous. I'm like, you're right, like if you're a high-performing school, you're not gonna show as much growth as a school that's so low-performing that if 2 people do better, oh, look how great you look. There's no scientific rationale or research-based analytics that make any sense with that, and yet this is what's going on, and it's just sad to me that they don't listen to their real educational community that's out there in the trenches doing the work, so.
Remember this.
Well, I appreciate our district's focus on our bottom quartile. That's the one space I'll continue to hang my hat on. The intentionality of our system to say every system has a bottom quartile, and though ours are performing comparatively really well, we're still going to focus on how we grow those students, and you're accurate in that the growth may not be as significant as some other areas, but we are very thoughtful and intentional to identify where are those groups that we might need to add a little something different to, because we're in this just belief of continuous improvement. No matter how strong we are, we're always going to try to do better. So
Well, I think
appreciate the support.
We're blessed because we have such great teachers and staff, great administration, great students, and we will do whatever we need to do no matter what. But you've got some schools that'll look at that and it'll make them look like they've done better, and then there's no incentive to continue to work hard. I mean, it makes no sense whatsoever.
One of my concerns is one of the best parts in education is collaboration and being able to look at a school that is doing well and going there to dig in and try to find out what have you been doing over this span of time to take your data from here to here. And as we continue to change the metric and the norms, it has become incredibly muddy to try to identify who is actually improving over this time span. So that's where I'm also grateful that we've got some pretty strong colleagues across Waukesha County that are strong partners for us in the work that we do.
I agree, I like your take though, that we do have a group of individual students that need a little extra help, and that's where we should try to focus on trying to get them to be where the others are. I like that concept.
And we'll figure out the report card as it comes. So that was my update on any other questions on the scorecard? I made a comment about I was watching and feeling my bald spot grow as we were having conversations in the meeting about that. And that's, so I appreciate your.
Your hair is going really well in the way.
So that brings us to the WASB Region 11 meeting. Just a reminder that coming up in October, we will have our WASB Region 11 meeting. If you are interested in attending, please let Ms. Buckenhard know, and we will get you registered for that. I will be in attendance along with, I believe, Tracy and Terry. If anybody else wants to go, just shoot us an email, and we'll be there for
Is that the
some.
4th?
Second,
Thursday the 2nd.
That works.
It's in Brookfield, so it's not too far. Any questions on that? All right, and then the final item in the superintendent's report are contributions to the profession. I would just like to give a shout out to Ms. Olson, who presented at the National Association for Educational Services Agencies and shared about the importance of helping onboard folks as they make a transition from district level to work areas. And I know I'm biased, but as Scott mentioned earlier, we have some outstanding administrators, and when you choose to share your strengths and the things you've learned through this journey with other organizations, it's good for all of public education. So thank you for your time and dedication to that.
Thank you.
And that concludes the superintendent's report. Oh, I'm sorry, one last thing. Of the highlights in the couple back to school weeks, I did forget to mention that our school board president was dressed up as a cow at the home football game as well for a fundraising opportunity for our community.
Cow?
A cow costume, yeah, a cow, like a real cow, like Chick-fil-A looking.
Do you have pictures of it?
Eat more Thai.
Don't have a picture of it, didn't have it.
Was it utterly delightful?
My name was Moody.
For a great cause, so thank you, and to our board for serving our community in lots of different ways. This was a fundraiser to help those who were impacted by the floods, so just appreciate all that you guys do for our community. And
Should
what
have
they-
just won today.
Yeah.
I don't know where to every meeting if it was here.
That was a big mistake. We need an official motion for that. Only they don't know the Robert's rules for this one.
It was warm, I was feeling like a pig inside my contest, I can tell you that.
Now that officially concludes the superintendent's report.
Oh, all right. Other reports. President's report, just welcome back. I feel like I feel like we haven't had a meeting, and we did have one last month, but it feels like, maybe it's just mourning the summer that's happening right now. Otherwise, I don't have anything. I do, at the WASB, at that regional meeting, we will be electing a new director that will take Brett's position that he had for a very long time. There's a confirmed person there now. So we will be voting on that. And it's important that we get somebody in there that will represent us.
You guys know who you guys want? Out of
I do.
Is the one that's sending out all the letters to?
They all did so far.
I only got one.
I only got one for me. I only got one.
So there's somebody in there interim right now. She
And
was
that's the one,
here.
and that's the one I got. Yeah.
And then Well, maybe Nicolina's, maybe she only sent it by email. Karen, she's from Whitnall. And then there's a gentleman from Cudahy. So, all three of them.
I wrote a profile on that.
Yeah,
Sorry,
that-
just emailing.
Yeah.
So did I.
So everybody did get that.
Yeah.
Other board member reports,
Well,
please.
Todd, you and Todd stole my thunder with the ASB with everything. The only thing I'll add is, two things, is I'm still going through all the webinars and all that stuff to get up to speed, to get up to yours, guys' strength and levels. Plus, in addition to that, their convention is January 21st through the 23rd in Milwaukee. So, my intention was to hopefully go for a day. I just have to figure out which day.
You can go the day that they have the delegate
Wednesday.
assembly.
Wednesday's the day? Okay,
Wednesday's the day that you do all the voting and stuff.
okay.
If you can't do it that day, then let me know, because we'll have to send some movement.
And I have every intention of going on October 2nd, because I can fit in my time frame.
And thank you for continuing to review those videos. I watched those stepping you into this role, and it's a lot of time, but it's a lot of good learning.
They are so exciting. It's so great.
I did the in-person things, because I was like, I don't think I can do it online.
Well, I guess-
It was in Whitewater.
I mean, the online, it doesn't bother me, you know, I actually learn better apparently online, compared to in person, so I'll take it. But that's all I got.
Tracy?
Sending the emails out, everybody's getting them.
Yep.
Do we have, I'm just curious, when I send it to the board, there's a group board email. Is there one for the executive, like for Todd, Courtney? Because I keep adding all of you guys on, I just didn't know if there was one particular group email.
Yeah, that's a cabinet.
Cabinet? Okay.
All right, moving on to committee reports. There's none. Not one. We're all
Meeting in 2 weeks.
It's all coming around. We're all getting back into the swing. So there were no committee meetings, so there's no reports for those. So we'll move on to number 9, resolution action items. 2025-26 preliminary budget.
Motion to approve the 2025-26 preliminary budget as presented.
Any discussion?
I did add a few more documents, just to finish on the difference between the 2024-25 year and 2025-26. Just looking at some of the key factors and the assumptions that were used to build the budget. So again, we still get the $325 per student. Our overall revenue limit went up about $523,000. We are still waiting for our pupil count, which will come in next week, Friday, is the 19th. That's the third Friday count, so we'll have that. We did see an increase in our summer school pupil count numbers, and why that number is so important is because those FTEs count in that 3-year rolling average for our student count. So we do get the $11,650 per FTE for each of those additional FTEs. The October equalization aid will come in October 1st. We are estimating it right now to go, October 15th, we are estimating it to go down slightly. If you recall, the way that the state budget was built this year, a majority of the funds were put into the special education reimbursement, which is helpful to us because that's actually new spendable money. That's less money we have to transfer into the special education fund, and we can maintain that in Fund 10. However, when they did that, in addition to growing the revenue limit authority, they gave us no new state aid. So really, the growth in the revenue limit pie is primarily held on the back of the taxpayers. And so we'll see that as we go through into the tax levy. Voucher amounts, if you remember the voucher program, we get the money in the tax levy and then we send it out, so it's in as a revenue and as expense. it's really a net zero to us, the impact of that, but we do see it on the tax levy side. Those amounts went up per student. We are keeping the FTEs for voucher students flat right now, but we are putting just about $1.1 million of taxpayer dollars through that program. On the tax levy side, we are looking at our Fund 10 levy going up about $1.3 million. Fund 39 has like a $325 increase, which we can adjust that if we need to. Fund 41, again, Fund 41 is our $750,000 capital project fund. If we didn't have that levy, those funds would roll into Fund 10. So it's not like if we eliminated that, we would have to eliminate all of Jeremiah's project budget, and it would not reduce the levy, so we don't want to do that. And then Fund 80, we maintain a small levy for our open swim program that we have there. Our prior year chargebacks, I have to adjust that number, we just got that number in. But again, those are, we're allowed to increase the revenue limit by the amount of taxes that we collected for, but people in the community didn't pay. I think this year it's $162, so it's pretty minimal. So that number has to be adjusted. Our
So
equalized,
it's not the 2,700?
no, the 2,700, I apologize, was last year, so that was 2425. So that'll go down slightly. We are looking at equalized valuations going up about 5%. Last year, they went up by 0.4%. We are starting to see some numbers come in on the equalized value side for Muskego, for the municipality at 11%. So when the equalized valuations again go up, the mill rate and what people will see per thousand actually goes down. So we're estimating 5%. It will likely be higher than that. And then we have per pupil categorical aid that we get per student at $742 a student will remain. And our total categorical aid is $3.4 million. And that can adjust again based on how our enrollment is looking. We are projecting flat enrollment for now until next week, and then we'll know for sure. We also included the very exciting preliminary budget with all funds that we can go through line by line if you would like. Or I did provide the summary, the general fund summary, also for the preliminary budget. So again, we're looking at about a $64.6 million budget. Our school levy is anticipated to increase by 3.96%, and we'll talk a little bit more about that and how net new construction will affect that. Our mill rate is looking to go down slightly, and the average tax impact on a $100,000 home is about $576. And again, that's already what's being taxed. It's not new tax dollars that are going into the levy.
And how does that compare to last year?
I can tell you if you give me 1 second. Last year, we were at
She's cooking.
$582.
So if we've gone out, I mean, it's gonna be pretty significant this year, right? Like with the new assessments that came out. New assessments,
If the new assessments came out, however, depending on what the average assessment is, because this happened the year that it was 5 years ago, right? Every 5 years they have to do it. If your assessment on average goes up, what the average municipality is, like, we can't levy more, right? So we're levying 34 million, but because people's assessment went up, they're gonna take a bigger piece of that, but it's not like we're adding more and more and more to levy. It's gonna go up slightly, like we'll talk about, it's about 2.5% that it'll go up. So people will see an impact on the assessed side, but from an equalized perspective, it's not dollar for dollar, if that makes sense.
yeah, but I guess my point is that the assessments went up pretty materially this year. And if the average impact has only gone down about $10 per 100,000 and several, I mean, the increase, I think, in some cases was $100,000, right, over that. So we're talking about increases of $500 to $750 in taxes to somebody for over last year, right? Am I
Yeah.
thinking about that right?
Yeah. We can do some, I can do some examples, if that's helpful, just pull some tax bills and look at the overall impact that this potentially will have.
Because the equalize, I mean, because the mill rate didn't go down significantly, right? So, I mean, the argument, if I'm thinking about this right, and please correct me if I'm wrong, but, you know, in the summer, when all of the assessments came out, there was everybody paused, right? Because it doesn't equate to that average increase in taxes. But then the hope was that the mill rate would then come down even further, almost to cancel that increase out, right? Am I thinking about that right? But it's not. The mill rate is not coming down as significant as the assessments went up.
Correct,
Okay.
correct. You are right. I'm just looking at if, I just want to look at the mill rate number in the event that that 11% comes through. So the mill rate, if the equalized values, which it's what's out on DOR's website right now at 11%, if that comes through, our mill rate will drop 5.57%. So that would be a little bit more of a help on that side.
So you're still talking about a 5% increase in actual taxes, right? If the value's gone up 11%, mill rate's gone down 5.5%, you're still at a 5.5% increase in actual dollar of taxes.
Right, so, but I think what we have to keep in mind though is our levy, let's say our levy isn't going up at all, right? We levied 32 million last year, we're levying 32 million this year, everybody's assessments went up.
Yeah.
So we're spreading that, but it's being spread, like that same number is being spread. If it's not applied the same, right? Because if your assessment went up, and let's say our levy impacted you and you're paying $3,000 for school taxes, your assessment went up, but our levy didn't. You're not gonna pay 5% more of what you paid last
For
year,
sure.
right?
Right.
Because,
No,
so
exactly.
it depends on what the assessment looks like, and
It's because our levy has also gone up.
our levy has also gone up 3.96%, yeah. And we'll talk about how that'll go down just a little bit in the next item.
Because what was it 2 years ago? Because it was 0 for like 8 years.
Well,
And then-
it was 0 for a number of years because
Right.
the state put money into the categorical aids and not the revenue limit.
Right.
When they started putting money back into the revenue limit, that's where we started to see the increase to taxes. So, 23,
I think it was 2023 where we saw the big hit, and then,
22, 23, 24, we saw an 8%.
yeah,
That was a
okay.
big one, but with the levy credit and then that new construction, it came in about 5, I think, was the actual
Oh, yeah.
impact.
Okay.
Last year was 2.52%.
Mhm.
And actually, I believe with the net new construction and the school levy credit, that actually went down to, it was negative for some people, like down 1%. Depending on where you fell with your
Right, right,
assessed
right, right.
values. So, the thing to keep in mind, and the frustrating part is for so long we focused on having that negative, and we were able to do so because the way that the state was funding schools. And the state has shifted how they're funding schools, and without putting money into the equalization aid to support that increase that they're continuing to give us, they're saying, okay, here, you can have more money, but you have to ask your taxpayer, I mean, you have to give it to the taxpayers to fund it, it's not coming through state aid. And that was the first year that they've done that this year in a long time, so we didn't see an offset of that. For us, I feel, based on where we will likely end up, we're relatively lucky. I mean, other areas, other school districts in our area are seeing almost double-digit increases. So depending on where you were in the formula and how that, the state aid, the value of that state aid impacts you, it could have pretty significant repercussions on the tax levy for other people.
Can you remind me how many more years we have left on the loan for Mosquito Lakes? Like, where are we at with
Oh, hold on. I got that up
Sorry, I
too.
didn't think it
Nope,
was
I
gonna
got
be-
it up. I got it up.
that? I didn't think that was gonna stop her. Nothing usually
I was
says
thinking
Julie.
about that too when I was reading this.
So 10 years,
10 years, okay.
10 years. However, we may see some opportunity for defeasance this upcoming year, so we'll talk a little bit more about that too. So that could drop a year down to 9.
So it was like 2.
No, that was a 20-year loan.
Any other questions or discussion? All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Motion passes. 2025-26 preliminary tax levy.
Motion to approve the 2025-26 preliminary tax levy as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, discussion.
Okay, so when we, last year, we were able to talk about the tax levy credit because the state put more money into the actual pot to increase that amount of money. It was not put into the budget this year to increase the tax levy credit. So we will still see a tax levy credit. Again, the school levy credit is the dollar, it's a pot of money that municipalities are given directly to reduce the impact of school taxes. We don't see that number, and it doesn't come out until probably October. So I don't have what our levy would potentially be reduced by, but again, that pot of money is based on the state spending and the calculation that they do across the state and then they impact directly to you. So that number could fluctuate for us and could help us for the better. Net new construction in Muskego went up 1.17%. So what that means is we can levy about $393,000 more without the taxpayers feeling the impact. When you calculate out the difference between what our increase is currently, the 1.3 and that 393,000, that leaves us with a total tax increase of about 938,000 or 2.79%. So what people will actually see, less the reassessed component of it, the 2.79% is what we would be going for, and what people will likely be seeing based on average where they're at with their values. If we get closer to the annual meeting and have more information on the tax levy credit and how that would impact us for the better, I'll definitely bring that forward as well.
And we always have that number before our annual.
We usually have it at the meeting, at the
Okay.
annual meeting, yes. If we did it at the first meeting in October, I can always bring back an update as well. Town of Norway's net new construction was 0.68% and City of New Berlin was 0.76. So depending on the municipality, that number will change slightly.
Any other questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. 9C, gifts, grants, and bequests.
Motion to approve with thanks the following donations as presented. Mosquito High School Soccer, $2,258.89 from Mosquito Warriors Soccer Booster Club Incorporated for new practice jerseys and team socks. Mosquito High School Custom Fabrication, $750 from Mary Milwaukee Foundation Incorporated. Mosquito High School Football, $10,000 from MNS Gridiron Club Ltd. Mosquito High School Girls Volleyball, $1,000 from Mosquito Digs Volleyball Booster Club to support huddle and team tournaments. And finally, Mosquito High School Robotics, $4,000 from Material Control Solutions and $4,000 from Generac Foundation.
Second.
Discussion. Thank you very much. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. All right, we have no discussion items. Under information follow-up, you'll find the monthly financial reporting and your listing of support staff co-curricular hires, resignations, and retirements. And that takes us to number 12, motion to adjourn. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.